Hello again, this is Randy Riley with the Springdale Fire Department, Radio Randy to some, with part 2 of our tutorial on how to do NFIRS reports in ImageTrend Elite. So we will go into, we'll kind of review what we did in the EMS part, go to Incidents, and we will select Create New Fire from CAD using the Springdale NFIRS form. We'll go through and select a structure fire. Again, it takes a few seconds for it to come up. We still have the notification that comes up, and we'll just click OK for that. Verify that your incident number, date, if it's an exposure, that will show up here. We'll go ahead and put in a building fire for our incident type. You'll notice that the fire and structure fire tabs will appear, and everything looks about the same as it did for an EMS call. We'll go through and click our primary station. And all of the other stations that responded to the call. Primary action taken will be extinguishment by fire personnel. Other actions taken, you can go through and enter all that apply. Again, if any aid was given or received, we could go through and uncheck none and then come back and check any of these. Usually that's not the case. We'll leave it as none, which is the default. Be sure, and if you had any deaths or injuries, to fill in the numbers there. Make sure your fire suppression personnel number is accurate. And I'll guesstimate here.
Medic 5 of Springdale, that will be Washington Regional. Springdale numbers in Medic 5.
Leave the include aid received resources as no, unless we did receive mutual aid. Check your shift, your district, the number of alarms, the alarm type. This will be a standard alarm, and we responded emergency to that. Then we'll click to the location tab. It is a street address. Verify that everything is correct there, and enter your zip code. And it was Washington County, which is the default, so we'll leave that alone. Review your main times for the call, always checking to see that they are accurate. Under property use, we will do a 419 this time for a single family dwelling. And then the pre-incident property value. And we will come back more with some standardized information on how to arrive at these figures. Same thing with the contents value. Those are just guesstimates. And then we'll need to enter a person. So we put a business name. There are no required fields here, so you can leave some blank if they don't apply. We'll go down here and find occupant. And you would enter all of this information as well. If you have information about the insurance company name and the amount of insurance on the policy, then you can enter that information. So we'll click OK. We'll move to summary, which is your detailed narrative. And your authorization tab, which will be the officer in charge. And if it's the same as the member making a report, you can click that button, or you can go through and if you're the designee during the report, type in the first few letters of your name and it'll search for that and you select it. Then we go to the fire tab. These are the same fields that we're entering now on our fire and structure fire reports. The screens just look a little bit different. So the number of buildings involved would be 1. It is residential. Number of residential living units would be 1. On wildland fires or grass fires, you would enter the acres burned, or if it's less than 1 acre, then you would check yes or no. Otherwise, leave it blank. This is where we will enter how much water we used for our monthly water report. We have property on-site materials. You can do lookups of the different types over here, or you can use this to get a list, or you can search for those items.
Car 16, Springdale.
Car 16.
If none of these apply, then you would click on that and click none. Click OK. The area of fire origin, go through and select that. The heat source, you can go through and select a heat source, or you can do a lookup just like I showed you before. Item first ignited, the same thing. Fire spread confined to object of origin, it would be yes or no. We'll click no in this case. The type of material first ignited. Go through the list and find something that's appropriate. Cause of ignition. Unintentional. factors contributing to the ignition. Oh, by the way, if it is intentional, then you will have some arson things to fill out. Unintentional, not necessarily. Factors contributing to the ignition, you have a list here of those factors, or if there's none, then you can click none. Same thing with human factors. You can either do a list for the human factors, or you can click none. Fire suppression factors, same thing. You can list the alternatives here, or you can check none. And that's everything on the fire tab. Then we go to the structure fire tab. Enter the structure type, the building status, whether it's in normal use. Total number of stories at or above grade will be 1. 0 below grade. This is where you will enter your main total square feet, or the length and width. Story of fire origin would be 1. Whether it was below grade, no. And where the fire spread was, either confined to the object, room, floor. We'll select room of origin. The number of stories with minor damage, significant damage, heavy damage, or extreme damage. So we'll put 1 there and 0 for the others. Check yes if no flame spread, if the same as material first ignited, or if unable to determine. Item contributing to the most flame spread. Try to be as specific as possible, not just choose the other categories. And I selected curtains a while ago, so we have curtains. Type of material contributing most to flame spread. Fabric. Presence of detectors. They were present. Smoke. The power supply. Let's say that these are battery only. Detector operation. It operated. It alerted the occupants. Presence of automatic extinguishing system. None present. You notice that we've achieved a 100% validation score. That's great. Your apparatus information should be already in here, because we filled in the daily roster, and we'll have another video on how to do that. Just go through and you can change and verify all of the times and the personnel on each of the units that responded to the call. If everything's okay, then click OK. If you need to edit anything, you've got the edit buttons here. If you need to delete an apparatus from the call, you can do so. Click OK. That takes you back to the main screen. Once you've completed the fire report, change your status to finalized. And then click on the menu button and lock your call. X out of the menu, it will show to be locked, then you can close the call. Once you've closed the call, just verify that your report is on the incident list. And this is the call on Brogdon Street. And that's how to enter an NFIRS report, a fire report this time, in ImageTrend Elite. Thanks for watching.